Hi, everybody. Welcome back. I'm Abby Hagyard. Cheers. It's snowing sideways outside. It's minus everything, and I have hot chocolate in my coffee. We're winning. All right, just let me do a little bit of this tech housework here. There we go. It is closing in on the end of January, and almost every year, without exception, I don't know if you ever take a look at on social media. Sometimes there'll be an area where you can see things that you posted in the past, and there always seems to be stuff, surprises, Mother Nature having a meltdown in January, and I can understand why people go away. Except that when everybody goes away, when Mother Nature's having a meltdown, then there's always a storm, and then people are delayed, and then they come home, and they're exhausted, and they spend all that time and that excitement and that money to go and just have best time ever, and then they come back, and what they need when they get back is a vacation, which I don't know. So I want to talk about unrealistic and unrealized expectations today, because even if we don't make New Year's resolutions, we do. We say to ourselves, next year, yeah, no more of this. Next year, I'm going to be that, and blah blah. And then we disappoint ourselves because we don't have a to-do list. We have a wish list, right? We want to be five things, and we really only have time and energy for two. And so we're always going to be disappointed. And well, good morning. Good morning, Maggie. What a lot of good work we did this morning. So cheers. Oh, that is such a good idea. For a very long time, I've had a beautiful watch that I really it was a lovely gift. And yesterday, it wouldn't be a watch. And at one point, I turned it over, and it looks like the battery had a nervous breakdown. And anyway, I don't have that watch. So I can't find the watches. So what I did have is this crazy, stupid watch that's way too big. It's hysterically silly. But it's shoes. It's shoes, and it's a stamp watch. I don't know if you, what am I doing? You can take the watch off, Ab. You can take the watch off and show the nice people. It's not like you haven't demonstrated stuff before in retail. Anyway, that's a really fun. I just think it's adorable. Anyway, it's a company called Stamp, obviously, and I found it years and years ago, and I unearthed it, and there was a little battery beside it, and I put it in, and hey presto, I have working shoes that I shouldn't be wearing. And so do you ever wear those shoes? I do. Sometimes I wear them on my wrist. So what I want to talk about today is a thing we all do. We don't mean to do it. We end up doing it. And then we feel ridiculous when we realize we've done it. And because it's a thing we just aren't paying attention to, it can very easily become a habit. And habits then rule the day, because that part of the brain loves to have stuff that's just autopilot, right? So the title of my video today is, have you ever seen or heard a purple cow? And I found a ridiculous cartoon picture, a claymation picture of a very surprised looking purple cow and a whole bunch of yellow cows ignoring him, or her, that would be, right? And what I mean by a purple cow is the thing you don't expect. The last thing I would have expected, right? And what I want to talk about, how I want to define it today, is how we choose to see who we are, where we are, what we are, why. Okay? Because this is exactly the time of year when we all stand looking out into the snow, sighing, unless we're the lunatic persuasion that is skating on the Rideau Canal right now. The other day it was minus everything and wind chill, and there were the people out there skating. My God, probably to stay alive, because keep moving, right? But the hardy souls. So I watch from the window and I wave, and I say to myself, better them than me, Gunga Din. And so in that way, me on the inside sighing, them on the outside sighing, we have expectations, and our expectations are usually the product of a story someone told us, a story we heard, or a story we are telling ourselves. Any one of those three, right? Sometimes a combination. And it's very easy, especially if we spend a lot of time alone. Actually, I was just going to say, or with a lot of people we don't like. Thinking of jobs I've had in the past. And it's easy for us to get a skewed picture of what's going on. It's easy for us to say, oh, if only, when we have more stuff, anything I could possibly remotely complain about here is a classic first world problem. The only person who hasn't had a decent meal in a long time is Mom over there, or the Care Bears, who, by the way, not real. And so we get to a point where our normal becomes the norm. Our normal becomes our baseline. I'm so tired of eating this. There's somebody who would give anything to eat this once. My mother made peanut butter and jelly sandwiches for me for school for about 150 years until I asked her to stop. Good morning, Freddie. How nice to see you. I thought I wasn't going to see you today. Because I had once accidentally said, that was a really good lunch, Mom. Thanks for the peanut butter sandwich. And so then she just proceeded to make peanut butter sandwiches on rotation because she had her mind on other things. And eventually I said, Mommy, please don't make me any more peanut butter sandwiches. I thought you liked them. Well, I did. I liked them very much in 1492. Christopher Columbus and I had one, and I'd like to stop now. And she said, well, I would think you would be grateful because I especially went out and got that peanut butter. Yes. And if we could just trade it up so it could be a surprise, that would be awesome. And then she went on into about, little girls who should be more grateful. There are people starving. And you know what? She was right. She was right. But she was also on autopilot, not thinking that maybe a change is as good as a rest. It's variety is the spice of life. So we ended up having a silly, stupid, shallow argument about nothing at all, because I was old enough to make my own sandwiches. I could very easily march into the kitchen and make a sandwich. Nothing stopping me, except my expectation of what was normal was that my mom made my lunch. And her expectation was, oh, good, she likes peanut butter. For the win. When we start taking things for granted, when the familiar becomes ho-hum, we don't have a very good time anymore. We talk ourselves out of the joy of. When we don't go out of our way to put some effort, I sound like my father, we don't go out of our way and put some effort into what we're saying and what we're doing. If we don't take a moment and consider that when we say hello to other people, they were looking forward to it. They had anticipation. It was going to be a bright spot. I'm doing a video. I'm doing videos twice a week. This is ABCAST number 431. If I came on camera and said, well, hi, okay, here we go. All right, let's get the thing over with. You'd be disappointed. I would not have a very good time. You would not have a very good time. And what was the point of investing that time, either of us, in taking this break together? It'd be dumb. So we would stop. And periodically we would remember how fun it used to be when Abby showed up and we were in a good mood for it. So in every conversation, in every relationship, there are always two people. There's the conversation itself, and then there's the person on this side and the person on this side. And if there's 1,000 of this one and 1,000 of that one, it's still one listener, one speaker, one speaker, one listener, right? And we owe it to ourselves and each other to bring something, to bring a purple cow and say, you won't believe what I've got. And the person says, what have you got? What does that do? What that does is it takes us out of, did you do your taxes yet? It takes us out of, the battery on my favorite watch just exploded. It takes us out of, that diet didn't work. Did you follow it every day? Well, no. So, why it didn't work? If we don't state our expectation, if we don't say where we want to go, where we want to be, what we want to feel and do and have at the end of the exercise, the end of the steps, how on earth, A, are we supposed to know if we reached it, and B, have any fun getting it, doing it, delivering it? If we don't have a stated goal, if we don't have a strategy to get there, we're making the whole thing hard on ourselves. You know, I have this thing that surprises and kind of amuses my clients. I say, okay, so we got a couple of worksheets we're going to work on. And the first one is we need to find our superpower. And the way we find our superpower, we take the piece of paper and at the top of the page, what we write down is all the things I suck at. And every client does a spit take into their coffee and says, what? And I said, okay, the reason we do that is you list everything you're lousy at. Because at the end of that, what's left could be among them your superpower. And it's much easier to list what you don't want, what you don't do. It's easy. The other stuff is, well, I don't really know what I'm good at. I'd have to ask people. No. You'll know what you're good at in a minute. Do you want to tar roofs for a living? No. Okay, then. There's one. Do you really like doing math? No. Okay, 2. And so, do you like picking tomatoes in the rain? No. 3. See, how easy is it to list and extreme, like make it a fun conversation. What are all the things you could not possibly want to do? And then you start getting serious about it. So if you decide that the world is against you, has been against you, was against you, and therefore the likelihood is high that it will be against you, and you don't want to get up your hopes because you've done that before and look what happened. Okay, well, now you're setting yourself up for having a lousy day. Because, okay, things didn't work. People were dumb, stupid, selfish, cruel. Okay, that was then. This is now. Well, it's likely that, okay, then stay there. Stay under the bed. Sulk. Why would anybody do that? Why would anybody do that? What makes any sense at all in doing that? It gives us permission to take no responsibility. It gives us permission to be miserable. It gives us permission to stay stuck where we are. It gives us permission to not try and just sit in a little black cloud and feel sorry for ourselves. That's what it gives us permission to do. Larger than that, though, because then people feel incredibly stupid, but they may still be stuck, is this part of the brain, and this is important stuff, this part of the brain, the subconscious brain that has been keeping us alive since the dawn of time, only knows now. It's pre-verbal, it only knows now. What it knows is this works. Are you alive? Yes. Then whatever we just did works. Okay, but it may not work now. That brain doesn't know that. And that brain will keep us stuck, keep us lost, keep us unhappy, keep us sick, keep us afraid, keep us angry, if that's what we used to do and be, because that worked. We're alive, aren't we? And it does not know any better. So there is a hack, and it works. It works, it works, it works. The real reason we do everything, without exception, the real reason we do everything is, again, primal, is to feel safe. Everything comes down to safe. If I have enough food, I won't starve, I'll be safe. If I'm inside and it's cold out there, I won't catch a chill, I won't die, I'm safe. I need a car, that car's for sale, I can afford it, I look great in it, it makes me happy. Therefore, I'm not sad, therefore I won't be walking in the bad weather, therefore I'm safe. Every choice we make is based on being safe. Safe does not acknowledge change, and it does not acknowledge growth. The subconscious brain is only in the present tense. How big you are today is how big you've always been. How wise you are today is how wise you've always been. That subconscious brain does not realize that if we are bigger today than a year ago, that cave we were in is no longer safe. If it has rained and rained and rained and rained and rained, and that cave is underground, that cave is no longer safe if the ground floods. That brain does not know that. And so there are always going to be times when we must find a way to override that brain, when we must find a way to say, I'm prepared to be the purple cow today. I'm prepared to take a calculated risk. I'm prepared to do my due diligence, and sometimes even not. Because change is all around us every day. It is the one constant. The one constant is change. And if we don't change, we get left behind. And if being glum, and if staying stuck, and if we have an overactive brain that overthinks, and if we have an overactive brain that can't focus because we have not done the work to learn the habit of focus, and it is a habit like anything else. If we have not learned it, we have not practiced it. It takes 90 days to create a habit. If we have not practiced it every day, then we struggle to focus. If we can't stay focused and we can't get things done and we always feel overwhelmed, yes, there you go. There are purple cows all around us. There are incredibly fortunate people, beautiful, smart, talented, who are miserable. What's up with that? And there are people who, you know how they say when things are just kind of not working, they were built on a Wednesday? There are people who are built on a Wednesday. They're allergic to everything. They catch everything. They trip and fall over everything. They break everything. You know what it is? It's just the way they're built. Okay. And in spite of that, they're cheerful. In spite of that, they find a way to say, all right, well, let's see what happens today. You know, I've got my cast, I've got my bandages, I've got my iodine, I've got a plastic bag to wrap around myself. What else do I need? And they say, let's do this. Let's get out there and do this. They are the purple cows as well. So the question to me is, what is the element? What is the ingredient? What's the ingredient that turns a stew into a disaster? Please don't say Abby. It could be true, but please don't say. Don't let her do the stew. If we look at everything as an opportunity to fail, then every part of us is going to do our best to bring that about. If we look at everything as an opportunity to grow, change, invent, cause the utmost damned astonishment, then everything within us will conspire to make that happen. We get to choose that. If we are choosing in order to stay stuck, fine. Acknowledge it. Own it. I'm just a lazy bugger and I don't want to do anything and I don't care. Okay, good. Go sit over there. We're busy. I just want to hang out. Okay, go sit over there. We're busy. Do you want to contribute anything? Do you want to make a change in any way? No, don't care. Sit over there. Do you want to have a reason to get up in the morning? No. I'd like to stay in bed all day. Okay, stay over there. Nobody ever comes and visits me. Nobody ever wants to hang out. That's right. Why? Because you don't contribute anything. If you don't contribute anything to your life, you don't learn the habit of contributing. If you show up and say, boy, well, hi, boy, what a day I've had. The person who was waiting for you made an effort. That's my dad again. Made an effort, got ready, cleaned the house, swept a path through the debris to the front door so you could get in without needing a Sherpa. And the only thing you have to think about is you and yourself and what you don't like. And the only reason you're here is to have an audience to listen to you. Stay over there. Those are the purple cows we don't need. The purple cows we do need are the ones who say, couldn't do this, that broke, found myself lost here. And then I said, you know what? To hell with it. I'm going to enjoy myself today. So there. And you say, how are you doing that? And they say, it's my life, isn't it? I can choose. I choose to have a good time. So there. Maybe don't say, bring it. Maybe don't encourage the gods to push you to see if you mean it. There are so many great, crazy, wonderful, magical things. And there are so many people whining and sniveling and complaining that they're not big enough, or they're too small, and what's that wonderful thing? The food was terrible. Yes, and the portions were so small. And then the other side of it, the people that I love so much, who say, you could do this too if you really wanted to. Well, yes. Do you get more than 24 hours in your day? Do you? Where do you sign up for those extra hours? Because I'll sign up for those extra hours. If I could do this as well, if I wanted to. Yeah, sure. Yeah. In between sleeping. Oh, Thursday, my bad, Freddie. I'm sorry. It is a point of view. And, in the middle of COVID, in the middle of a lot of things not going well, swirling around, falling over, spilling, leaving sticky stuff, I realized that I was making do. I was grinning and bearing it. I was saying, no, it's fine, it's fine. And it wasn't. And increasingly it wasn't. And I was getting to a point where I was starting to hear myself sigh. Like that, which is a horrible kind of color in your emotional color spectrum. And I didn't like it. And I didn't like the way my shoulders felt tight. And I didn't like the way things just felt gray. Gray is not my favorite color. You have to work so hard to override the grayness of the gray. Witness all the orange in my gray office. And I realized that while I was living in a situation where I didn't have the tools or the room, I guess, to make significant changes to my externals, I had all the tools and all the room and all the time to make changes to my internals. And what I decided consciously that day was to become a purple cow in a very yellow cow world. I decided that I was going to make a list of the things that I deserve, that I embody, that I am, that I'd kind of allowed to drift away and fritter away. And I said to myself every morning, I'm going to say good morning to these qualities that I have. I'm going to, by myself in the bathroom, looking in the mirror, I'm going to say, welcome back, Abby. It's good to see you. I'm glad you stuck around. Let's see what we can get done today. And I had a list of the feelings that I genuinely normally feel that I had not been feeling lately. And I had them on a little Post-it note. I had put the Post-it note on my little mirror. I need a close-up mirror when I put my makeup on because I'm nearsighted. And there they were. And just before I put my makeup on, I read them out loud. And each one began with I am. And that's only 4 of them. And I said, I am this, and I am this, and I am this, and I am this. I took a deep breath and I smiled and I put my makeup on. And I did it again at night when I took my makeup off. And I said to myself in the mirror after I'd listed those things, we had a great day. Sleep well. See you in the morning. To me, I had decided I would say good morning and good night to me. Very purple cow. Because I am always with me. Might as well be polite and friendly to the person who's always hanging around. Because the other people who were hanging around were a bit glum on purpose because they liked it. And they got kind of a grim satisfaction out of seeing that I didn't. And so they did it more often. And it made my days an uphill climb until I realized that that's what was happening. And I put a stop to it. Not to them. Do your worst, but do it over there. If you want to be miserable, go to the bottom of the garden and sit with the worms. I'm over here in the orange room. And I did it every day. And subtly, I could feel the effects. As I became more cheerful, they became more grim. And I didn't allow it to touch me as I had been allowing it. Because we're porous, and energies, they can filter in and we don't realize it. We don't realize it because we're not paying attention. We're not taking care of our purple cow. So the grim person who just says, yeah, and I say, do you have frostbite in your face? What? No. Okay, then. If you're going to say hello like you mean it. Say hello like you're glad to see me. Oh, geez, here we go. Okay, then, don't say hello. But you're not allowed to do that. You're not allowed to impose that. You go over there and impose that all over yourself. You're not allowed to impose that on me. I forbid it. And I walked away. Not going to have an argument, not going to discuss it. If you can't be pleasant, then go do something else. I'm being a purple cow over here. That's all there is to it. And it is a project. It is not work. It's a project. It's a love project. Because I rebuilt my my levels of joy. I rebuilt my gratitude for just being here, for heaven's sake, after that accident. I rebuilt my delight looking around this beautiful, amazing little place that I'm living. I rebuilt my gratitude that it's minus everything and it's snowing sideways and I'm not out in it. I'm in here with you. How wonderful is that? And I rebuilt my gratitude that I have these awesome clients who are wandering around trying to figure out how they're going to fix something, and then they find me and together we fix it, and they're so happy. And so am I. And it gets fixed. What more could you ask for? So today, here it is. It's the 27th of January, and it's a shoes day. And where I am, it's minus, it doesn't even say now, it's minus a lot. The wind is blowing hard. The snow is snowing sideways. And a lot of people have been through some very weird, nasty weather. A lot of people are going through some very weird, nasty behavior. A lot of people are going through some very weird, nasty, scary uncertainty. And here we all are with the capacity to reach out with our energy and say, we're sending virtual hugs. We know, and we care. And we wish you were here where it's safe. But if you have us and you have our energy and you have people near you, we're sending our energy to give you the energy and the stamina to revive you, to say, okay, let's do this. We can do this. Because that's who we are. That's who we've always been. We're a tribe of purple cows. And together, we're amazing. Separated, isolated, lost, confused, angry, afraid, lonely, cold. Sucks. Purely. At the top of the list, what do I suck at? That. Do I want more of it? No. All right, let's make a list of everything else then, and let's aim for that. When someone says, I don't feel well, then let's fix it. When they say, I don't know what to do next, let's fix it. I feel lost. I'm ready to throw in the towel. Let's fix it. Why are you always so positive? Because I have the skills. I'm alive and well. What else was I going to do with them? So many people are asking, what's my purpose? So many people are saying, I want to be part of something bigger than me. And they rush off. There's somebody who says, I wish I could travel. I would travel to the other side of the world and I would preach. Why don't you just help the neighbor who has trouble getting from the bus to their house because they have arthritis? Why don't you start where you are? Volunteer at the clothing drop-off. Volunteer at the soup kitchen. Nobody needs to hear you preach. They need help lifting their groceries. You have arthritis? Fine. Then you stir the stew. Let them lift the groceries. That way, when the groceries are in, the stew is already ready. Everybody can find excuses. The time we invest in finding excuses, dear God in heaven. Well, I can't, and I just, and this is so. Yes, we get sick. Yes, we feel like crapola sometimes. Maggie and I had a strategy session. Maggie was feeling really not great. Maggie's moving, which is enough to make me want to go and just stay under the bed, except that I'm packing. And we had a great strategy session. Why? Because it's got to get done. As soon as it gets done, everything is fantastic. It's fantastic in the doing of the strategy. And by the way, while you're focused on the strategy, how awful you feel, you still feel it, your body still feels it, but you're not thinking it. So I want to remind you of something on the purple cow subject. We have a burst of emotion that triggers us, positive or negative. The burst, the hormone shot that triggers the burst of emotion, of feeling, only lasts 90 seconds. 90 seconds. So a craving for ice cream, a craving for this, an agonizing longing for that, a frustrated feeling about the other. 90 seconds. Well, that can't be right, Abby, because I've been upset about that all day. Ah, yes. Well, the reason you're upset about it all day is because you started thinking about it. You started saying to yourself, boy, I'm frustrated. Boy, am I ever frustrated. I am so frustrated, I can't begin to tell you. And you taught yourself to prolong it. You purposely went out of your way to torture yourself to stay frustrated. If in the middle of being frustrated, you took a deep breath and shifted direction and walked purposefully towards something, anything, the fridge, the lamp, and reached it and put your hand on it and said, I got here. There. I own that. Frustration. And move on. We have the tools. If we don't know we have the tools, how are we going to use them? If we have the tools, don't know we have the tools, therefore no idea where they might be, how are we going to use them? If we don't know we have the tools, we don't know where they are, we don't know how to go and get them, because we don't have instructions or an instructor, how are we going to use them? It's a reasonable set of questions. The only thing is that you do have an instructor and you do have the instructions. It's me, and I'm here twice a week, Tuesdays and Thursdays at 10 o'clock, New York Abbey time. And I'm on Facebook, and I'm on LinkedIn, and I'm on YouTube. And if you were that frustrated and you did want to change, if you did want to channel your inner purple cow, it takes 10 seconds to say, hey, Abby, any chance you got a minute? I think I might need you. This is ABCAST 431, twice a week. Let me see now. You divide 430 by 2, that's 215 weeks. I've been doing this. And every week at some point I say, here I am. How do I know these things that you don't know? I learned them the hardest way possible. And I've practiced them every day since. And I share them in two ways. For the people who really just need a moment, here we are, from me to you with love. For people who really need intensive work because they're going to shift their career, their life, their relationship, their brand, their way of living, well, then we sit down and we create a strategy. I've never had a bad review so far. We all have the capacity to be a purple cow. A purple cow who says, I'm walking here. I'm moving here. You knew I was going to do that eventually, right? I have bad days too. I had a doozy of a bad day the other day. I was really, really upset. I was really, really frustrated that I kept hitting a wall. And you're right, Freddie. The problem is that we're waiting for the world to change. The world changes every second of every day. Waiting for somebody else to do it first is an excuse. It's called stalling. My father used to say, quit stalling, just do the first step. Used to have a purple cow ice cream. Yes, yes, I remember that, Charles. Yes. The whole idea is each and every one of us is different. Each and every one of us, our DNA is different. Our fingerprints are different. We are innately different. We are purple cows. We have the ability, we have the capacity. What we need is the desire and the drive. We need the appetite. We need the curiosity to try differently. If we don't like this, does it make sense to keep doing this way? No? I just don't know how to get started. You want help? Ask. Oh, then you don't want help. Then you want to stay stuck. Then go over there. If you don't want to stay stuck, here we are. It's an interesting conversation I have quite often with a couple of friends of mine who are very confident that they will always have time to complete things. As a military kid, you kind of grow up wondering if you'll have time to finish having this sentence before somebody calls and says, okay, start packing, you're moving. And so I have always lived with a kind of concern, not worry, not anxiety, but just I want to make sure that I can complete this in the time I'm allotted, and I don't know how much time I'm allotted. So other people say, oh, I got lots, we got lots of time. Really? How do you know? Never mind. I don't want to have the discussion. You feel you have a lot of time. Good, good. I'm going to get started. I have stuff piled up. I'm not this paragon of I get everything done. I have to climb over my personal hurdles. I do have days where I just want to stay in bed and read a good book. And sometimes I do it. And it's wonderful. But not every day. Because I also have this. I also have you. I also have Pivotry in Motion. I also have the Lion Effect. I also have the new show. It's my favorite thing to do live shows in front of live audiences in front of me who laugh. It's my favorite thing. When people come to an event and they see me, they come over and they laugh and we have a wonderful time. It's my favorite thing. And I've missed it. I've missed it being away for all the years, learning to be a writer, learning to be a coach. I've missed it all the years just working virtually on the phone or like this with somebody in another country. I love the project. I love the clients. I miss the one-to-one. And we're going to be getting that back as soon as it stops snowing sideways. And there's a lot of work involved, great, exciting, challenging work involved in getting to the place where we're ready. When I was saying to Maggie during our call, it's an interesting thing about the entertainment industry, communications being one of them. You go along, you're ready? What? So you have to be, because show business communications doesn't wait for anybody. You ready? Yeah, good, you're on. And they hand you a microphone, the camera goes boonk, and the light comes on. Hi, everybody. That is what life is. Life is, what do you mean you weren't ready? You knew it was going to happen. Yeah, but I didn't think it was going to happen now. It's always now. Even if you say I have an hour, it's always now. So I'm going to love you and leave you and come back Thursday with another thing that I really want to talk about that's important for all of us, especially this time of year. So I would like you to do something for us, okay? I would like you today, wander around, think about it, use your later folder, use whatever. Think about one thing you do or you are or you feel or you believe that is a purple cow. Just one. And write it down. Put it on a Post-it note. Stick it on the mirror. Because there's something quite magical about recognizing the one thing you do that is a little bit rebel. It makes everybody smile. Will you do that? Do it for you and do it for the rest of us? And we'll talk about it. Okay. You know the drill. First of all, before the drill, thank you. 785 people on LinkedIn so far since last week. Thanks, guys. I appreciate it. Thank you all for watching. Thank you all for making 431 ABCASTs a possibility. Without you, it's an oil painting. It's just me and those curtains. Be good to you. You deserve it. Remember to hug your loved ones because they deserve it too, right? You know they do. Okay.